Hello, I'm back with another episode of Your Stable Friend. So, I wasn't sure what I was going to talk about today. I really, one of those weeks where there was nothing really that, got into my craw until I woke up one morning and saw something. I was horrified with this. This is a whole new level of horror for me. Somebody said, we just got a new young horse who evidently hadn't been trained to walk on a lead rope. And whenever we take her out of the stall, she pulls away from us and runs away from us. Can anybody here on this page, it's the helpful advice page, can anybody here on this page help us? And then she went on to say, this is the horrible part. That's not the horrible part. Then she went on to say, for right now, we're just leaving the horse in the stall. Where to begin? Where does one begin? I just simply responded. Nobody responded at this point, and I simply responded, could we have a little bit more information about this situation? Could we know something about your horse experience? Can we know something about the age of the horse and how much experience it allegedly had before you got it? So here we tie this back into what we were talking about the last couple weeks with buyer beware, seller beware, that people get horses misrepresented to them. It's always a really, really good idea to do whatever it is you're going to do with the horse at the horse's place where they are living when you find them. If you're experienced, if you're a professional, if you've been doing this for a long time, sure, you can have a horse sent to you. I've done it, and I've mostly always been happy with it, and it's worked out fine. But if you are a novice or if you are a beginner, first of all, I think you should ask yourself, why is it that you desperately need to have your own horse at this juncture? Why do you need to have the responsibility of being the custodian of a horse at this early juncture in your relationship, in your education regarding horses? Would you take an interest in wanting to fly and then just going and buying an airplane, not knowing what you're going to do with that airplane, and not knowing how to fly it, not knowing, even about its mechanics? Just like, I love airplanes, I want to go buy an airplane. You wouldn't do it. We might do it with, I don't know, things that are not alive and sentient and that would not expect us to maintain them and be their custodian for a lifetime. You might do it when it's something you can take back or reverse. But when it's something that's somewhat irreversible, it is your responsibility to do your due diligence and to educate yourself. I always wonder why it is that people will read a manual when they go to like IKEA or something to put a bookshelf together, but they will not even pick up one horse book, or they will not even watch a couple of YouTube videos about how to do general basic things. They just think that somehow maybe they're supposed to know it, or the horse should be able to know it. I don't know. I don't understand. But it is your responsibility as an equestrian, as a future equestrian, as a budding equestrian, as someone who considers themselves to be an equestrian, to become educated. And the beauty part of that is right now is that we have something called the internet. When I was growing up, we had to read books, and we had to go to a library or we had to go to a bookstore, and they were very limited into what you could find. Now you want a book and you go online and you can find a book in some other part of the world possibly, and somebody's happy to send it to you. We have so many things, or you can read stuff online, or you can go into chat rooms and learn things. You can read magazines online. You don't even have to get a subscription if you find an article. There's so much you can do to educate yourself. I don't think anybody should be on a Facebook page asking the question, how do I lead my new horse? Until one of you people, one of you strangers comes up with an answer, I have locked my horse in the stall. I have shut the horse into the stall. So clearly what they probably have also surmised is every day that that horse stands in the stall, it's now becoming harder and harder to lead. I mean, I hope they know that, or I hope they've realized that. I'm hoping someone with some sense of, with some education or some common sense is there to the rescue to save this situation. I think the person took the post down. I never saw it again. I went back to look for it. I couldn't find it. So I guess somebody must have intervened or something happened. I don't know what. I can't imagine it was some sort of like a catfish or something, or, you know, just to get a rise out of people on the page. I can't imagine that. I mean, anything's possible. But, you know, when I had said about the woman throwing rocks at horses and suggesting that you throw a rock at a horse if you don't like what it's doing, you know, I was like, oh gosh, I feel like I've seen everything. Well, now I really feel like possibly I've seen everything. Just because you cannot manage or handle your horse, sorry, that horse is now your responsibility, and you're going to have to figure out what to do, whether that's hiring someone more experienced to come in to get it out of the stall for you and then to get it back in, or whatever it is, or maybe it doesn't need to go into a stall. Can you not keep it in an open area where you can work with it at liberty? Can you not keep it in an open area where you can start becoming friendly with it and it could trust you? I mean, there's only hundreds of things that you could do that would make more common sense and seem more compassionate than, I'm going to lock you in the stall now because I don't know what to do with you. It was a mistake and I'm locking you in the stall. As I say, I think we can do better. I think just common sense would have you do better. So I guess what I would like to wrap up today by saying the following. Number one, there is no excuse for anyone not to be able to educate themselves as far as being an equestrian is concerned. Through the internet, you can read research papers, you can study the masters, you can buy books from everywhere, you can read magazine articles, you can get subscriptions to magazines, you can go to the library, you get yourself a library card, and there's so many ways to get written, published information about horses. You can watch YouTube videos until the cows come home. There are so many YouTube videos you can watch. And when you're watching them, maybe they're not addressing your issue exactly, but just by watching horse people do things with horses, you can learn so much. So please, nobody should be going into some sort of a chat room or onto a Facebook page asking for the very basics. You have to ask yourself in that instance, why is it that I needed to have a horse right now? There is going to a riding school and learning about horses. There is becoming a volunteer. There is becoming a working student. There is finding a friend who has a horse to learn from. There is half leasing, then there is full leasing. Why do you need to have the responsibility of being the custodian of something so precious as a horse without having the proper knowledge to go with that? I don't think you do. And I just mentioned all of those ways that you can get experience if you don't already have it. So, even as more of an intermediate or even more advanced equestrian, what are you doing to keep up on your continuing education? What are you doing to renew the things that you think you know, but maybe there's new research on it? Are you continuing to educate yourself? That is just as important as your initial or original education, is continuing education. And equestrians have a terrible habit of, I learned this in 1972 and thinking that it still applies. We're terrible that way. Terrible that way. If you learned it in 1972, I challenge you to go and research and see if we're still doing things the same way, because we're probably not. Thank you for listening, and thank you for being here, and please hit that subscribe button for me. I would really, really appreciate it. And leave a comment. What do you think about this? What do you think about equine welfare and ethics in its entirety? Leave a comment. Let's hear what you're thinking. And thank you.